Welcome to Hatman Strikes Back Daily Boxing News. I definitely did not see this one coming. According to Mike Coppinger via Ring Magazine, Moses Itauma is in process of finalizing a deal to fight Dillian Whyte on August 16th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. This would be the headline fight with Nick Ball versus Sam Goodman and Anthony Kakachi versus Ray Ford on the undercard. But why is the main event such a surprise to me, if it happens? Well, because I didn't think the risk-reward would be very appealing to Dillian Whyte. He's a guy who's been looking for fights with the likes of Anthony Joshua. So presumably, since this fight is in Saudi, Turki Al-Sheikh is willing to pay far more than this fight is actually worth. Bear in mind, Moses Itauma is just a prospect. He's not some household name yet with a pay-per-view track record. No, his profile is building, but he's far from a superstar at this stage. So he's not going to bring in crazy viewing figures. And Dillian Whyte, although he used to be a consistent pay-per-view star, and he's been in there with the likes of Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury and Derek Chisora and Joseph Parker, etc., he's seen better days. And in the past couple years, he's been fighting in obscurity. Again, not selling a lot of tickets, not doing big viewing figures, and not fighting on pay-per-view. I can only imagine that Dillian Whyte is getting paid a small fortune for being willing to step in there against Itauma. And Itauma might be getting vastly less. I'm speculating, obviously, but he's a young man who's looking for an opportunity against a recognizable name. Well, he's got it here against Dillian Whyte if this fight gets signed. If it does go ahead, although Dillian Whyte has vast experience, he's shown a massive heart in the ring time and time again, the fact he knows a lot of veteran tricks and tactics, and the fact he does have a good boxing brain, he's never been a good athlete. He's always had poor balance, poor coordination, two left feet that are set in concrete, and sloppy biomechanics, which he really can't do anything about, not for the lack of trying. He used to have really good punching power with the left hand, and that was the only punch he used to be able to throw with some speed. Everything else was pretty slow, including his jab. But based on what I saw in his last fight against Ebenezer Tete, even the left hook is slow now. Bear in mind, Tete just got starched in a round by Fraser Clark, who is not a noted puncher. Yet Tete went, 6, 7, 8 rounds with Dillian Whyte, a couple of fights prior to that. So long story short, I absolutely expect Moses Itauma to win this fight, almost certainly by knockout. I don't think Dillian Whyte has the speed or the reflexes to be able to keep Itauma at bay, despite the fact that, as I said previously, he does have a good boxing brain, Dillian Whyte, and it's a bit of an optical illusion because you look at him and he often fights in this very sloppy manner, but that's down to, as I say, his lack of athleticism, his lack of natural coordination, and so on. But if you watch him closely, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he wants to do. He knows the kind of moves he wants to pull off. But due to that lack of athleticism, he just doesn't pull them off in a very polished fashion. But yeah, I think Itauma smokes him. Also due to the fact that Dillian Whyte doesn't take the kind of shot that he used to. His punch resistance has been deteriorating for years now. He can be somewhat slippery defensively. He's certainly no Pernell Whitaker, I'm not saying that, but Dillian Whyte rolls his upper body and he moves his hands around to block punches and parry him and stuff. So there is some craft there. But I just don't think he'll be able to do all that stuff quickly enough. And I think Itauma's going to catch him and take him out. And also, Dillian Whyte's best punch is his left hook. Left hooks tend to be a lot easier to land against orthodox fighters than they are against southpaws. Depending on the southpaw, but for the most part, it's easier to land left hooks on an orthodox fighter. With a southpaw, your left hook is going to be clashing with their right jab. Makes it awkward to land, especially a guy like Dillian Whyte, who again, isn't the most coordinated guy in the world. Now, from the Itauma side of things, this fight makes a lot of sense. Not necessarily in terms of getting rounds, because Itauma could end this fight quickly. If he lands clean on Dillian Whyte in the first round, fight's probably over. But the fight makes sense from a profile perspective for Moses Itauma. If he goes out there and beats Dillian Whyte in good fashion, it will take him to the next level as far as being a commercial draw. Not the top level, but the next level up from where he's currently at. So it's a smart move in that sense. Anyway, I'll do a more in-depth preview of this fight if and when it gets officially announced. But my initial thoughts are surprise. I did not see this one coming because Dillian Whyte, for many, many years now, has been the A-side in every fight he's been in other than against Tyson Fury. Think about it. He was certainly the A-side against Tete, certainly the A-side against Christian Hammer, certainly the A-side against Jermaine Franklin. We've spoken about Fury, but he was certainly the A-side against Povetkin in both fights. He was the A-side against Marius Wack, Derek Chisora both times, Joseph Parker, Oscar Rivas, Lucas Brown. You see what I'm saying? For the longest time, Dillian Whyte has been the A-side. This will be the first time, other than when he fought Fury, that he's being brought in as the opponent. And unlike the Fury fight, this is not a world heavyweight title shot for Dillian Whyte. He's being brought in as the opponent for a prospect. And that's what surprises me about the whole thing again. Presumably, they're paying Dillian Whyte an awful lot of money to agree to being used, because that's what this is, to being used as cannon fodder for Moses Itauma. Now, Dillian Whyte won't see himself as cannon fodder, but I'm sure he knows that Frank Warren sees him as cannon fodder for Itauma. So he'll want to be handsomely compensated. He's not going to be taking chicken change for this fight. And I suspect that's why it's in Saudi Arabia rather than the UK, because this would be a pretty big fight in the UK. But it seems like the Saudis don't want to pay the real big money anymore for the fights outside of Saudi. Perhaps Canelo Crawford will be an exception to that, but for the most part, they seem to want to reserve the real big paydays for Saudi Arabia. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Are you as surprised as I am? I was expecting to hear Dillian Whyte was going to fight Anthony Joshua, Derek Chisora, somebody like that. I didn't in a million years think we'd be getting Moses Itauma versus Dillian Whyte. So yeah, color me surprised. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out. Are you surrounded by mindless bots in human form who adhere to the norm and blindly conform? Who swallow all the mainstream BS and actually ridicule you for questioning things? Do you wish you had more free-thinking individuals in your life to network and converse with? Well, look no further. We're right here. Come and join the Brotherhood of Reason on Patreon. You'll gain access to my weekly topical content where we take deep dives on an endless variety of subjects, as well as my vast back catalogue of podcasts, videos, interviews, movie decodings, and my Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You'll also get to talk and network with myself and hundreds of other people in our members chat. You can enjoy all this via the Patreon app or on desktop and download all my podcasts in high quality MP3. There's no contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time, just like Netflix, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper. Just download the app from the Play Store or the App Store, or simply visit patreon.com on a web browser. Then head on over to my page and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. All the links are in the description box below. And just a quick money-saving tip for Apple users. If you purchase your Patreon subscription on the desktop site or on Android, then you'll avoid the ridiculous 30% fee that Apple charges for purchases made on the iOS app. So if you're on iPhone or iPad, save yourself some money by buying your subscription on the actual Patreon website or on Android, because it's a lot cheaper. Once you've made that initial purchase, you can then use the Patreon app on your iPhone or iPad thereafter to access and enjoy your content as normal.